Did you know that violent crime in the US has been on an overall decline since colonial times? And yet, all you have to do is turn on the news for 5 seconds or scroll through social media to believe that many of our cities have become dystopian nightmares, full of crime, homelessness, drug addiction, and poverty. Ironically, many of these metrics are lower overall in the US. But the 24-hour news cycle would lead us to believe that the country is completely self-destructing. Despite overall statistics, many American cities are in crisis. Some are obvious, and some fly under the radar and may come as a surprise. In this video, we'll look at crime, homelessness, cost of living, and other factors that are wreaking havoc across the nation's cities. While putting them in any kind of order is a challenge, since they are all in disarray for different reasons, this is a compilation of an American crisis. Number 10 is Cleveland. Cleveland can't catch a break. Even Pittsburgh looks down on it. One of the things keeping the city in crisis is the city's mental health. Over 22% of Cleveland residents have been diagnosed with depression, which is above the national average and makes it one of the more depressed cities. It's hard not to be depressed in a city facing urban blight, unemployment, and high crime. Both its violent crime and property crime rates are above the national average. While many American cities are facing an uptick in homelessness, Cleveland is no exception. This poses an exceptionally dire situation in a city with harsh winters and few resources. For years, Cleveland was being hailed as the comeback kid, but it just can't seem to take off. So for now, it remains on this list with over 31% of its population living below the poverty line. Number 9 takes us way up north to Anchorage. This city often flies under the radar, but is facing many crises, most notably a homeless crisis. A recent article in the Wall Street Journal in October 2023 shed light on the growing crisis. The homeless population has increased 60% since 2019, and unlike in many other states, freezing to death is a legitimate fear. So much so that the government of Anchorage is offering one-way tickets to the lower 48 and even Hawaii. Nearly 50 people have frozen to death in Anchorage this year, with 4 dying in 1 week because of one storm that dropped 2 feet of snow in 48 hours. Anchorage is also plagued by high violent crime, with a violent crime rate nearly 3 times the national average and significantly higher than the state average. Anchorage is safer than only 3% of other cities of its size. Crime affects Native Alaskans at much higher rates, and another crisis that often goes underreported is its missing Native women, in which lack of resources and, in some more dire cases, racism prevents law enforcement from properly investigating reports of sexual assault and those that have gone missing. Number 8 is Philadelphia. This city has had a pretty long fall from grace. Before Washington, D.C., this city was the capital of colonial America. It's home to the Liberty Bell and cheesesteaks. How can this city be in crisis? Today, homelessness, crime, and poverty intersect to give this once glorious city a spot on this list. The crime rate is hard to ignore. Its crime rate is more than twice the national average and even higher when compared to the rest of Pennsylvania. A notable crime took place earlier this year when journalist Josh Kruger was shot and killed by a 19-year-old that he was trying to help. Kruger was an activist who was said to have supported the defunding of the police movement. Philadelphia quietly removed $33 million that was set aside for policing, and the city has now seen the fallout from this practice. Number 7 is another city that flies under the radar despite its failing metrics, and that's Little Rock, Arkansas. Little Rock, which disguises itself in the middle of the country, is one of the most violent cities in America, with a crime rate that is 217% higher than the national average. This is shocking for a city with a population of just under 202,000 residents. Like Cleveland on this list, the mental health statistics aren't much brighter. Over 25% of the city is diagnosed with depression, making it one of the highest in the nation. Number 6 is Honolulu. This one may come as a shock, since it's one of the most beautiful states and sits on the shores of the South Pacific, but it's all a facade. Honolulu has one of the highest rates of homelessness in the country. It's to the point where the local government is considering offering one-way tickets back to the mainland. To make matters worse, roughly 50% of the state's homeless population is Native Hawaiian, despite only making up 10% of the population. This disparity is largely due to the housing crisis causing natives to literally be priced out of paradise. Honolulu is the most expensive city to live in, and resources are scarce. There is limited shelter space for those who experience homelessness, and few residents with jobs can even afford housing. As a tourist hub, high-rises and beachfront condos continue to gentrify the city, making it earn its spot as number 6 on this list. Number 5 is Baltimore, whose biggest crises on this list are about its children. Nearly 40% of all children in Baltimore live in poverty. That is well over twice the national average for children living in poverty in the country as a whole. Baltimore also has a school crisis. The city gained notoriety when in 13 Baltimore schools, making up 40% of its schools, administered a state math exam where 0 children in all 13 schools passed. 0. Not one child in those 13 schools could pass a math proficiency test at grade level. Of those tested, a staggering 74.5% got the lowest score possible. To add fuel to the fire, these scores came after the educational system received the highest amount of funding it's ever received to date, leaving many residents asking where the money went. The tragedy in Baltimore, more than any other on this list, is that this crisis is mostly affecting the children, who have no say in their city's politics, leadership, or educational systems. And these same children are the future generation. Number 4 takes us south to the land of blues, Memphis. To understand why the city is in crisis, look no further than its crime rates. The crime rate in Memphis is a whopping 6.5 times higher than the national average, and nearly 4 times higher than the Tennessee state average. It is reported to be safer than 0 other cities of its size in the entire US. Forbes ranked Memphis the 4th most dangerous city in 2023. Which technically means it is safer than 3 other cities with different sizes, but barely. Memphis is seeing a population decline and is no longer Tennessee's biggest city. That honor now goes to Nashville. As people flee the coast and head to states like Texas, Tennessee, and Florida, Memphis can't seem to attract people, despite being in a very sought-after state. And who would want to move to one of the most dangerous cities in the country? Though Memphis is the birthplace of such rich culture, music, and food, it can't escape its reputation. It was, after all, where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. Despite its crisis-ridden reputation, the site of Dr. King's assassination is one of the many historic and cultural sites that still entice tourists to venture into the dangerous city. Number 3 is New York City, the city that never sleeps. The city so nice they named it twice. How can the center of the world have fallen so far? Many people remember New York City in its unpleasant days when Times Square was riddled with drugs and prostitution, and every subway car was covered from engine to caboose in graffiti. In fact, many New Yorkers look back fondly on the nostalgic seediness that was captured in many films from the 80s that were set in New York. But then, a change in leadership meant a change in the city. Crime rates plummeted, the homeless were sheltered, and the subway was given a makeover. Hostile architecture kept people from sleeping on every street corner, and the city seemed to be doing well. Then came COVID. Another shift in leadership sent the city back to unwell days, but not in the nostalgic 1980s kind of way. Crime reached an all-time high in the early 90s, then sharply dropped to a near all-time low by 2000. Unfortunately, since 2020, that crime is back on the rise. From harsh lockdown policies that put people out of business, to its status as a sanctuary city, there seems to be a crisis in New York. The right to shelter law that once sheltered the unsheltered is now out of space as it faces an influx of migrants. Number 2 is Chicago. Like New York, this city may not be particularly shocking. Poor leadership and corruption have long since plagued this city. The crime rate is more than twice the national average, and while this city may not have made this list a few months ago, the recent migrant crisis had put it back at number 2. Aside from high crime rates, which seems to be a theme in Chicago, the recent influx of migrants have created strife as local residents clash with politicians over their sanctuary status. This city's humanitarian values, like providing a safe harbor or sanctuary for those in need, and supporting children and families regardless of their citizenship status, are running into direct conflict with the scarcity of funds available. Many Black residents have challenged politicians who shifted the financial burden back onto residents. In fact, last month, 2 South Shore residents sought an injunction to stop Chicago from using public spaces to house migrants. With failing school systems, crumbling infrastructure, and high crime already rife in the city, many Black Chicagoans report feeling left behind in their own city. And number 1 is no surprise to anyone. This is probably the least shocking to the point where it doesn't even need to be on a list. It's practically bullying at this time. And that honor goes to San Francisco. How can we ignore a city that has an actual map of human feces? You can literally Google a poop map of San Francisco. A San Francisco Controller report finds nearly half of all commercial sidewalks in the city had feces in 2022. There is poop everywhere. There are close to 8,000 people experiencing homelessness living on the streets, many with serious drug and mental health issues. The city came under fire recently when it embarked on a massive cleanup effort to welcome Chinese leaders, which left many local residents infuriated that the city was only able to shape up when foreign leaders came to visit. It is no shock that the crime rate is also higher than the national average. This is compounded by an affordable housing crisis, keeping many San Francisco residents unhoused and on the streets.